All right, thank you so much for coming out. I super appreciate it, and hopefully we can do this talk before I get kicked out of here by someone official. Is anybody here official? No? All right. Awesome. Okay, Patrick McCran, one of the co-founders of Endurance Nation. We're an online triathlon team, half Ironman athletes. We have a couple of short course folks and a couple ultra running crazy people. But for the most part, a long distance triathlon is all that we do. We go to all the races every year. We have over 500 people on the team. I've already been, this is my 8th Ironman this year. So you guys, it's your first race, you're so excited. And you know, me and all the carnies who do the expo at every single race, we're all like, we just want to go home to our families. We're so done. What I want to impart to you today is what I've seen not only this year, but what I've learned across the last 10 years of racing long course, okay? Some of the guidance that I'm going to give you today is, it's going to sound extremely basic. Extremely basic for people who spend $800 on a wheel. People who spend $5,000 on a bike. You know, people who, shave their legs for speed, right? This is going to seem really, really basic, but it's critical guidance, okay? It's called our 4 keys of race execution. I'm going to go through those quickly, and then I'll talk about those keys laid over the Ironman Florida course. Okay, so you guys have a sense of how it's going to play out. How many people here are on the team? First of all, raise your hand so we can see. Awesome, very cool. It's so cool to see you guys here. I think we have 25 or 28 people racing this weekend, so you'll see them out there in their red and white kit, or blue and white if they're old school. How many people here are doing their first one? So I know. Awesome, very cool. I just did Kona, and I think more than half the field was actually first-timers, strangely enough, for Kona, first-time Kona people. And racing with first-timers and being a first-timer in a race is awesome. I certainly hope that you are excited for your day. You should be absolutely kind of nervous, perhaps bordering on terrified, which is a strange feeling for a grown adult to have, right? You know, you kind of feel what your kid feels like on the first day of school, or when dad says, get on your bike and just ride, you know? You're gonna have all those experiences tomorrow, and you should cherish them. You never get your first Ironman back. Good, bad, ugly, awesome, whatever it is, you never get it back, okay? So tomorrow's a very special day for all of you first-timers. Hopefully what I talk about today is going to give you some perspective on how to make that day a good day. A good Ironman day is simply being able to race according to your fitness. And that is it. Forget about the time goals. A good Ironman day means you got out there, you had your race, and you did a reasonably good job, okay? There are a million things that can go wrong on Ironman race day. I will not talk about them because you've probably only come up with maybe 6, maybe 9 if you're really creative. But if I tell you all of them, you might just pack it in now because you'll be terrified of all the things that could happen to you with your spokes and your brakes and your tires and the bolts and sorry. I'll stop so I can carry it away there. So here's how it works. The 4 keys of race execution. Key number 1, race day is about execution, not fitness. Nothing matters until you get to the line. To get to the line, you put yourself in a box, and when things get really, really hard out there at the line, you pull out your one thing, okay? Those are the 4 keys to race execution. I did not mention time. I did not mention aerodynamics. I did not mention how many salt pills you should take. All those things you're thinking about right now, you're worried about for tomorrow. Gloves, no gloves. Arm warmers, vest, hat, no hat, skull cap. What do I do? I'm not talking about that right now. Step back for a second and think big picture, okay? Race day is about execution, not fitness. How many people here have watched an Ironman before, like spectated one? Okay, so a lot of you guys. So if you've been out there in that sort of like 12 to 14, 15 hour time frame, you've seen a lot of really, really fit people. People who could probably be like on the cover of a magazine, you know, all these abdominal muscles and fit legs and veins and everything. And they're out there suffering their way to a 12 or 15 hour race, somewhere in that window. A lot of those people, you're saying to yourself, how'd this person get here? How did Jimmy, who's 27, who doesn't have a family, can train all he wants, how's he out here now? He looks so fit. What happened to him? Well, Jimmy made some mistakes out there on race day, okay? The race does not care about how fit you are. The race does not care about that awesome, awesome ride you had 6 weeks ago where you killed it, where you came home and told your wife and your friends and everyone else that you are a rock star. Race day doesn't care about that, okay? It doesn't care about the run that you did 9 weeks ago in a half marathon where once again it was a tailwind downhill the whole way and you killed it. Race day doesn't care about that. You cannot bring any of those expectations with you to the race tomorrow, okay? Because there's countless people out there who've set those goals. They've said, they've got the sheets. Someone on our team even did one, where they said, hey, honey, I'm going to swim between, an hour, 3 minutes and 37 seconds, and an hour and 5 minutes and 18 seconds. So stand at the 4th palm tree, and I'll run by you exactly at 8:07 in the morning. Then I'll be on the bike, and you have 13 minutes to drive to the intersection out there on 79, and I will pass you, high-fiving you, at 8:41. Right? And then I will come back. You've got this whole plan in your head. You're trying to give some sort of sense of what that means to your family, and also it's an exercise in what it means to you. But there are so many things that go on in a race day that have nothing to do with what you bring to the table. Your swim out there tomorrow is going to have nothing to do with the hundreds you lay down in a pool. Okay? It's very hard to kind of grasp that concept. What you need to understand is your ability to execute, your ability to handle the challenges you face on the day, the problems that arise, and also the challenge of overcoming 140.6 miles on race day. Okay? So how do we handle this challenge of execution? What does it mean? Well, the number one thing that you want to do on race day is think about this. Nothing matters until you get to the line. Okay? So people are saying, where do I seat myself on the swim? How do I start the bike? How do I pace myself on the bike? What do I do about drafting? Where is that special needs aid station? How far apart are the aid stations? All these things going through your head. It's very easy to get carried away with the front part of your race, but in reality, nothing matters until the line. And the line inside Endurance Station is mile 18 of the run. Okay? Every decision you make on race day tomorrow should be framed from the perspective of what is this going to do to set me up so I'm in a good place by mile 18 of the run. So when you're out there on the swim and you're lining up in the morning and you're like, wow, there's all these people here and I'm talking to them and they're going to be a little slower than I think I'm going to be, so I'm going to move myself over here. Or someone passes you on the swim and underwater, theoretically you should be able to see them and you're like, I'm going to totally jump on that guy's feet, which is so hard to do in a triathlon, but we still sometimes try and do it anyway. Trying to speed up, or out there on the bike, you're trying to jump in a group or pass a pack of people out there. You're making all these kind of what we call Ricky Racer decisions. Who's going to win to the top of the bridge? Who's going to win to the turn? Right? Who's going to make it, to the next timing mat faster, get through this aid station faster? All those decisions take away from your ability to arrive at mile 18 in a good position to finish the race. Because racing in an Ironman is not so much about speed as it is about simply not slowing down. Slowing down happens in that second half of the run. Okay, if you're lucky. If you've really mucked it up, which a lot of people do out there, and you will see them, slowing down happens at like mile 60 on the bike when they sit up and they're no longer able to be in the aero position. They're having trouble with their food and so on. Okay, so nothing matters until the line. All right, so important. All right, so you have your goals. You wanted to swim a 110, but you swam a 114. 4 minutes. 4 minutes is nothing in the context of an Ironman. If you are competing, if you're worried about other people in your age group, 4 minutes is someone, that's half of a flat tire, right? That's someone stopping extra long at an aid station, right? You're worried about, you wanted to get to halfway, you set a benchmark of being at halfway at 3 hours and 20 minutes or whatever it is, and you get there at 3 hours and 30 minutes, it's just 10 minutes. It's nothing, okay? If you are running 10-minute miles, which is pretty average in an Ironman, pretty good, and you walk 1 mile, walking a mile in Ironman is about a 20-minute mile unless you're hoofing it, which is hard to do out here. 10 minutes versus a 20-minute walk mile, that's a 10-minute gap right there. There's your 10 minutes on the bike, solved, done. Okay, and I'm here to tell you that the majority of your competition is going to mess up out there somewhere and they're going to be walking, okay? So all of your decisions should be framed around how do I get myself to the line in a good place. If you drop your nutrition, you stop safely and you go get it, okay? You're not in a hurry tomorrow. It feels like you're in a hurry, but you're really not in a hurry, okay? You need to solve that problem soon. If you have a problem, you need to fix it, and I'll get more into that later, okay? So how do we get to the line? Oh, that's right. There's DVDs up here as well, this whole talk. If you don't have one, please push that to the back. So we put ourselves in a box. The box means everything that you can control, everything you can control goes in that box. Everything you can't control, outside of that box. Okay? So if you're swimming, what do we think about swimming? We think about, I'm only going to swim as fast as I can maintain my form, because I can control my form. I can control where I put my face, the swells over here, or if Thor, the bicep god over here, decides to try and fist drill his way through the entire Ironman swim, I'm going to swim over this way. I'm not going to try and stop and talk to Thor about him getting a little too close to me. Same thing goes for the bike. I'm not going to try and talk to people. If I see a draft pad go by me, I'm not going to accelerate and then educate them on race day. They're really not there to listen. They're not in a really good emotional space to take a lesson from you, despite how excited you are to give that lesson to them. And so everything that goes inside that box is what you can control. So on the swim, you can control your pacing, you can control your seating, you can control your technique, your form. On the bike, again, you can control your pacing. You want to be focusing on your nutrition, getting all of that dialed in because of the wind and the temperature drop coming later in the day, and obviously a marathon. Those early calories are critical to your ability to perform on the run. On the run, you want to put yourself in a box so you can pace yourself. Because what happens is, we're kind of independent creatures, right? Triathletes are a strange breed. But most of us train by ourselves, predominantly for most of the time, right? If I was in like a spaceship, 5 a.m. comes and I can see across the country, lights go on as triathletes wake up and they go outside and train. They want to try and run in their spandex before their neighbors see them or whatever else it is you do. You got to get that master swim workout early, etc. So we do a lot of things independently, but we're also very sort of lemming, I call us like lemmings, we're lemming oriented, right? So one person puts on compression socks and everybody's like, look at that guy, he's so crazy. And then the next day, like half of those people, they got compression socks. Yeah? And then like 3 weeks later, everyone's wearing compression socks. Like, what? Why am I wearing compression socks? How did I get those on? We do that, right? So we're creatures by habit. Whether it's a function of us being alone all the time or we just want to fit in, we're not quite sure what fitting in is, right? But regardless, on race day, it's very easy to make bad decisions because everyone else around you is making a host of very bad decisions, okay? On the swim, it's not so readily apparent because you've got your face in the water and despite the melee that's going on around you, it's pretty quiet where you're swimming. When you get out on the bike, you're going to notice here, especially in Ironman Florida, that at the start of the bike, everyone is riding like it's the Tour de France. Jan Ulrich is chasing them, and they are going to win this thing, goddammit. I'm going to win. I am going to win it. And you will see that because you will be out there on Front Beach Road. You will be no more than 2 miles out of transition, and someone will go by you, and you will remark to yourself, mark my words, you will say, that person is as old as my mother. In fact, she is just like my mother, and she just went past me at 25 miles an hour. How is this possible? And you will start to reassess what's going on. What your reality is you built in training, you will reassess that based on the external criteria and stimuli that are around you. You'll say, well, everyone else is doing this. They can all ride 25. It must not be so bad if I